So, in my last video, I was telling you guys either you're going to choose to be confident or choose to be the hater. So, if you chose to be a hater, this video is for you because sometimes you probably can't help it. Being a hater is genetically, transferred to the child. There's a famous line that Kanye West stated, and he said, "There will always be haters. That's just the way it is. Hating bees and hating inwards, have babies and have hated kids." So, if you are just a byproduct of being a hater, it's just a form of a disease. It's something that is passed down. Your mom could have been a hater, your daddy could have been a hater, your great grandpa could have been a hater, your grandma could have been a hater. Like, you just can't help it, and I understand that. But you have to understand what that means for you if you're going to be a hater. Now, if you're just watching this video for entertainment purposes because you're wondering, like, what is in the mind of a hater? What makes the haters do what they do? And this video is definitely for you if you want to, listen up to the haters that are hating you, just so you can get a little bit of insight. But anywho, so I understand that it's something that you can't do because it's a disease. It's actually embedded into your DNA. This is how they're telling you that generational curses need to be break. Being a hater is a generational curse, okay? It's a generational curse. And I know people might want to laugh or giggle when I say this, but it's actually true because a lot of people go through great lengths just because of hate. A lot of people could go to jail, unalive people, jump people, cause physical harm to people just because they are a hater, just because they're jealous and envious. That's all a part of being a hater, okay? And this is why they do the things that they do, and this is why a hater is dangerous as well. This is why you always want to keep them at arm's length or slowly back off or just disappear and go ghost, move and go on your merry way, because it's actually a disease. And also, it's also a mental illness, and it's also a spiritual illness as well. This is why I'm saying that it's a generational curse, because it's something that they need to break on their own. And they will have to do, self-discovery. They're going to have to go on a spiritual journey to be able to break that chain. And a lot of them refuse to do so because they are their own worst enemy. Haters are their own worst enemy, okay? They send so much harm out to the world, but they also send that harm back to themselves. So let's just give a few examples. So the hater will send out all these negative thoughts, all this negative energy to this person. They're putting all this jealousy, envy out in the air. And once that person that they're dealing with, returns that back to them, this is where they start spiraling mentally because their mind is playing tricks on them. Their mind is actually against them. So they basically are living in a body and is going against itself, pretty much. It's sabotaging them, giving them illusions, having them in projections, and they're living in delusion. Okay, this is why I always say if you are a hater, you are literally against yourself, because you have this one life. The Most High gave you a life for a reason, and you're using your one life to hate on somebody. You're using that one life to copy somebody, to go out of your way to make people miserable, to go out of your way to be a troll. Like, I feel like people don't understand how much psychologically at warfare the person that's a hater is. They're always mad. They're always angry. They always feeling like people trying to look better than them. They always feeling like somebody's trying to one up them. Like, they live in a land of, comparisons, and they have like no joy. They always say comparison is a thief of joy. They literally don't have no joy in their life. They're always miserable, and they're always looking for other women or other men to click up with because they're so miserable, because they're going to be staying at that low vibration. They are literally an enemy of themselves. And once you're an enemy of yourself, you're liable to self-destruct. You're liable to self-destruct not only within yourself, but they're actually self-destruct on other people. This is why they're getting thrown underneath the jail, because they have no self-control. They're always mad, they're always angry, they're always violent, and they want to take it out on the person that is not doing anything to them, but they feel some type of way in that energy because they know that they have self-worth. They know there's things they need to work on. They know that they're living delusions. They know that they're living in lies. And in order for them to keep that lie, going within themselves, they have to attack the other person because in their mind, why this other person is always happy and I'm always mad? Why is this person glowing and I'm not? But the truth is that they know the reason why they don't want to do the work. They know they're a hater. They know the things that they do. They know that they're living a double life. They know they are stealing people's identities. They know they have no soul. They know they have no personality. And they know when they look in the mirror, they're invisible. They hate what they see in the mirror. It's not something, their character. They can act like they're one person. They can act like that they're this person. But when they are alone with themselves, they see it and they feel it for truly who they are. Even if they have a husband or kids or whatever the case they do have, they're still miserable within themselves because they're just a miserable person, aka they're just a hater, aka they're an enemy to themselves. So they're never going to like themselves at all. They literally hate themselves. So I'm going to give you like a little bit of description, like if you're friends with this person, if you're in a relationship with this person, like how they act, what are the signs that you are in the presence of a hater. So number one is that they're going to be putting you down. They're always going to feel like that you have to do something for them. They want you to serve them hand and feet. It's always transactional, but they're also going to be, abusing you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, or financially. Okay. So these are the people that probably want to date someone that has less than them, just so they can have, power and control over that person. Make sure they can't move around. This could be your lover, this could be your family members, whoever the case may be. They have to have financial control of the situation in order to make you feel like that you need them. They always need you to need them. They always need their children to need them. This is why they'll sabotage their children as well, because they always have to feel like they have all the power and you don't. They always have to feel like that you need them. So you always have to come back to them. They send you out to the world with no skills, no experience, and they know for a fact that you're going to fail because you're not even well equipped. Okay, these are the type of people that you're dealing with. If it's a relationship, they're going to be very insecure, always feeling like that, you're cheating on them, very jealous of you, your hair, your styles, your looks, and it also can become physically abusive and violent. Okay, verbally abusive, especially verbally abusive, and also physically violent towards you in some type of way. And if they have like this hater, mentality towards their children, they're going to be verbally abusive to their children and also physically abusive to their children because they're violent people. Okay, they mentally is not right. It's mentally unstable. They mentally feel like that you think that you're better than them in some type of way. You could look better than them. People could treat you better, and they're trying to understand why people are treating you better when literally they're your parent. They're your boyfriend. So they should be the only person around here that's getting special treatment, and you should basically treat them hand and feet. You should be, their slave. You should always, worship them. They want to be worshipped. And this also can happen in your siblings dynamic as well. They want you to always cater to them hand and feet. They want you to make all these sacrifices for them because they're greater than you. You should be always sacrificing for their needs, and your needs and your feelings does not matter. Doesn't matter how much you're trying to explain to them. They don't care. They don't care. Your life should benefit them in every way. Okay. And when you don't, that's just where all these problems could arise, things of that nature. That's why I say you always keep a distance. They may try to, get in some type of way, but if you are really good with your boundaries and setting boundaries with this person, it's just going to be no way that they can enter your life or come back into your life once you erase them, because there's no openings. Make sure that's not any openings, because they would try to go to other friends and family that you do talk to, trying to find an entryway, trying to find a conversation, because at the end of the day, it's really in reverse. They really need you. They don't have no identity. They don't have nothing going on. They don't have no personality. Everything that they thought about themselves, they figured out that it's not even real. It's not even real. They live in an illusion. And this is where they start to self-destruct. Like, these haters, don't want to sit down and get to know themselves and be on a journey of self-discovery, that's on them. It is not your job to, discover them for who they are, because you can already tell and look at their aura and look at their energy that they don't even know who they are. This is why they're trying to copy off you. This is why they're trying to copy off other people. This is why they always gossip. This is always why they always negative, always trying to fight people, always trying to pull up, always trying to cause drama, because they live in an illusion. They're living in a lie. There's nothing that you can do for these people. Like I said, they have to break their own generational curse. They have to own their own mind, not be an enemy against themselves in order to be able to thrive, because they will always get the short end of the stick, whether they know it or not. No matter how much money they get, no matter, how they're trying to keep up with the Joneses, that's superficial. When someone is spiritually empty, when you have negative dollars in your spiritual bank, that's like the worst thing that you can have, because all of your transaction of what you're getting, the people that you are buying, the clothes that you are buying, the cars that you are buying, it means nothing, because on the inside, you're on the negative, you're on the decline, so it's never going to be worth it to an empty person.